again everyone, welcome to another episode of Beards and Board Games with me, Georgie. Today I'm going to be reviewing Forbidden Island. Forbidden Island's a 2 to 4 player cooperative game. It was released in 2010. It was designed by Matt Leacock, who designed quite a few other famous games like Pandemic, for one, another co-op game, which I'll be reviewing soon. The game itself is based around 2 to 4 adventurers landing on an island, trying to gather treasure. Is it for themselves? Is it to save the world? I'll explain in a second. We'll go and have a look at Forbidden Island. So everyone, this is Forbidden Island. First off, I'd like to say I like how it comes in a sort of steel tin. I don't know, it's just a really nice effect. You know, it's not going to dent or break or anything like that. I can carry it about. It might make a bit of noise when I'm taking it out. Sorry. Here's the rules here, and I'll just say as well, the way the rules are laid out make it really easy to understand. In my opinion, I think pretty much anyone could understand these rules, you know, not be too intimidated by them. Now, another thing that I would like to point out about it is, this is, apart from that, which doesn't really have a space, fits perfectly on top though, probably the nicest box I have in any out of all the games that I have. You know, this is in all the games that I've seen, which is a lot. This is just the nicest way to put the game away that I've seen out of anything. It's just so convenient. It's so easy to put away. And fair enough, there's not that much content like, you know, a bigger game that Matt Leacock done is like, say, Pandemic or anything like that. But it's just easy to put away, easy to take out, easy to set up, all that stuff. Here's your character pawns here. The cards are 3 different kinds, which is just your character cards, your flood cards, and your treasure cards, which I'll go through in a bit more detail in a second. And then there's the treasures. This is the ocean chalice of the ocean, the earth stone, the statue of the wind. I'm probably not getting all these names right, I apologise now, but they're really good quality figures. You know, they're really nice pieces for the treasures. And this is my favourite one, the crystal of fire. So, I mean, they're really nice pieces for what you get. These are this is the game board, essentially, here. So, the game board is set up differently every single time because you can shuffle the actual tiles, and every single time you set it out, it'll come out differently. So, I'm just going to nip and go and set this up just now. So first I thought I'd take a second to go through some of all the character cards you get to be. One of them is the Navigator, which gets to move another player up to 2 adjacent tiles for 1 action. The other one is the Engineer, which you can shore up 2 tiles for 1 action. You can be the Explorer, which is move and or shore up diagonally. The Messenger, which is give treasure cards to player anywhere on the island for 1 action per card. The Pilot, once per turn, fly any tile on the island for 1 action. And the Diver, which is move through 1 or more adjacent flooded or missing tiles for 1 action, and you must end your turn on a tile. So that's about that. There's a cat in the way. Okay guys, this is what Forbidden Island looks like when it's set up. As you can see, some of the tiles have a sort of blue tinge to them rather than the sort of standard colour which most of them have. That just means they're flooded because you've initially landed on the island, so the island doesn't want you to be there, so it just automatically floods 6 parts of the island. So that isn't that nice of it. You also start off with 2 treasure cards. In this case, I've managed to get one of the lion statues and one of the chalices. So the aim of the game is to get 4 each of these. Once you get 4 of them, you need to get to a location that has the same image as the card on it. There's only 2 per treasure. So as you can imagine, once you lose both of them, you lose the game because you need to get all 4 treasures and get back off the island to win. There's also a couple other ways that you can lose the game, obviously, with it being a co-op game. That would be losing Fool's Landing completely. So once it floods, that's fine. But once it floods again, it totally disappears. This isn't Fool's Landing, obviously, that's up there. But once it floods again, it's gone. That means you lose the game. But once you get all four of the treasures, get back to Fool's Landing, and use a certain card, which is the helicopter lift card, you can then get off the island and you win the game. So, started off with 6 places flooded, and you start off with 2 treasures each. So it's a minimum of 2 player. You can trade treasures with each other, but you have to be in the same location unless it states on one of the character cards. So just say for example as well, I haven't showed you this yet. You start on this is for when the island decides to flood. So you get like a starting level on it to decide how difficult you want to play, but this indicates how much cards you draw per turn, because there is an order of play, and every single turn you draw more cards and the island floods that little bit more every single turn. And obviously, as you can see, once it gets to the top, the more it rises, the more you draw these Waters Rise cards, as they're called, out of the treasure deck, you die. So that's another way it can kill you. I'll explain what Waters Rise cards in a second. So the order of play is you need to take 3 actions, or up to 3 actions. So that can be moving, that's up, down, left, right. Every move costs an action. So for example, that would be 1, 2, 3 actions, if that's where the diver wanted to go. Or it'd probably make more sense for him to go 1, 2, 3. Then he's at least close to these ones. The pilot, on the other hand, because I've chosen the pilot, I think it's a good combination, the diver and the pilot. He could fly anywhere on the board, like I showed you with the cards, for 1 action. So he would maybe fly down there for 1, because that's got the Earth Stone on it. Shore up, which is another thing you can do for 1 action. And then as a second action, shore up this one too. And that would mean he's taken his 3 actions. So, on your turn, you take 3 actions, then you draw 2 treasure cards. Oh, so that's that card that I was speaking about earlier. Helicopter lift card. Basically says on it, move 1 or more pawns in the same tile to any other tile, or lift your team off Fool's Landing for the win. So you need one of these cards to get all your team off of Fool's Landing at the end to win. And the other treasure card, I go, oh, look at that, sandbags. Sandbags is another one of those special treasure cards. So showed up any 1 tile on the island at any time. It's just, you can use it any time, doesn't need to be on your turn, doesn't count as an action. And I'll just try and find one of the other cards that we're looking for. There we go. This is the cards that you don't want to see. This is the one when you draw that. This moves up, as you can see, to death. Not very good. Once you do that, so it gives you another order of play on here, which I like. It also gives you that on the back of the character cards. Move the water level up by 1 mark. Shuffle the flood discard pile, so that's the cards that you've already taken out and that are already flooded. Shuffle them, put them back on top of the deck that you're already drawing the flood cards from, and discard this card back into the treasure pile. And then, as the last part is your turn, because you have 3 steps, so you have your 3 actions, which is 1 step. Take your treasure cards, then you draw the flood cards. But if in the treasure cards you get a Waters Rise card, you need to do all those actions too, which we did. So they're all shuffled back on again. You then, because we would still be on 2, say we started on easy, move it up 1 notch, and then we would draw our 2 cards again, and we got Copper Gate and Cliffs of Abandon. So Cliffs of Abandon's already flooded, as you can see, so that means it would go, and you would discard the card out of the deck. Copper Gate, I just shored up, that would flood again. Thank you, island. And it basically progresses like that. That is the mechanics of the game. Like I said, you can trade cards if you're on the same thing. But once you get 4 of the same treasure, you trade them in when you're on the right location with the image of the treasure on it. Once you get that, that's it. For the win, you've got it, you've won. Not as easy as it sounds, I can promise you that. But let's go take a look at what I thought about Forbidden Island. So, what did I think of Forbidden Island? Absolutely love it, to be honest. I absolutely love the game. Everyone that I've played it with so far absolutely loves the game. I haven't even met anyone that has played it and said, I'm not too sure about it. Everyone's just like, yeah, that was really good. A really good game. They really enjoyed it. There is still a couple of downsides, like I always seem to find with all the games. The one thing that really seems to be my bugbear, and it doesn't even affect me at all, is when introducing the game to new players, I sometimes find that they don't get to take a turn. You might think that sounds strange, but it's a cooperative game, so if they mess up, I mess up. I mean, I can kind of control myself, but I know a few people, I mean, even if you're in a bigger group, you end up discussing, like you and another player who's played this game for a long time ends up discussing what this player should do. This player's the new gamer, and they don't even really get to know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I guess, even if you're playing a all versus all game, that kind of happens, and that player's probably going to lose the first couple of times just when they're getting to grips with the game. But for me, there has to be a better way to do it. I mean, you can explain it as well as you like, but everyone, as soon as they get to the board, goes, okay, so I can do this, and then you say, well, you could, but it'd be better to do this. But I feel like you just kind of take away from the player's turn a little bit. But the second and third time they play it, and fourth and fifth, and every time after that, they will be taking their own turns, and they will not only be taking their own turns, but they will be debating with you what the best strategy is, which is what I love about the game. It gets people talking, it gets people conversing. Everyone, is just like, you discuss how many treasures have you got of this, how many treasures you got of that, Water's Rise card, you all suffer together, you win, you all win together. It's a great feeling, and you feel like almost like a sense of achievement when you do this game. Me and one mate in particular, friend, has completed this game on every single difficulty apart from Legendary, I believe it's called. Yes, Legendary. I'm not even sure if there is a way to complete it on Legendary. If anyone knows anyone who has ever completed it on Legendary, please let me know, because I've been looking through Board Game Geek, I've been talking to people about it, and I haven't met anyone that's been able to complete it on Legendary. I've even seen a couple other reviewers review it and mention the same thing, that they can't seem to complete it on the hardest difficulty, which, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a challenge in it, but if it can't physically be done, that's kind of worrying too. Anyway, thanks for watching. You've been watching Beers and Board Games with me, Georgie, again. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe down below. Catch you guys later.